I've been chasing my Ghana card since the registration, the beginning of the registration, that was in 2018. And this is about my 9th time chasing it.
This is Alhaji Saidu Al-Hassan. 3 years ago, he registered for the national ID and is yet to receive it. He has traveled all the way from the Upper East region to the Elwak Sports Stadium to try and retrieve it as the deadline for SIM re-registration approaches.
And yesterday when I arrived, in fact I was tired, so I have to find out where I could get my card because the deadline had approached. And I was asked to go to Pantang. They collected my form and then told me I should come to Elwak yesterday. And I was here almost for 5 o'clock, only to be told that I should go and come this morning. And when I came this morning, 6 o'clock, the place was already full. And we have to sit in the queue, sift until reach my end, only to be told again that I should come 27th of this month. I think there is something wrong. They are hiding something from some of us. And the high time they tell us, the better. Highly frustrated because I was told at the headquarters I shouldn't come again and that they will call me. No, they would never call me. Only for me to be at the Upper East region. I was working when I got to know that the time had run out, so I have to rush in yesterday, only to be told this morning again that I should come 27. Why? What is happening? I think there is some selective justice somewhere in this country.
The timeline for the SIM re-registration has been reviewed at least 3 times, but Alhaji Saidu and thousands of other people are yet to go through the process. As the deadline approaches, registration centers are swelling up with numbers.
I reached at 6 o'clock and up to now, I'm still in the second process, not even to the third one before the 4th one. I don't understand the reason why I have to stay in all this queue. Oh, forget about registering a SIM card. Because I've not gotten the Ghana card, how can I register it?
So I have to crawl from Odan to this side. I've been in bed almost 2 years, but because of this, I shall have to put me in a truck, drop me out somewhere there. I tried before I reach this side. It's really God knows.
This has become simply irritating for many.
So last month I was asked to go to Shashi for validation. So I went there and it was like I should come to Elwak for checking of my card. So I came here on Monday. And then I met a guy over there and he asked me, he told me I wasn't having any faults with my card. So I went back to MTN and he asked me to come back to Elwak because I have faults with my card. It's very, very annoying because from Tema all the way since 2 weeks now. And even the TNT require is even high for me. Because if I can register with my SIM card, then there's no use of the card for me.
For many of the registrants, the Communications Ministry must consider another extension to the deadline while decentralizing the process. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
We must make it difficult for the criminals who hack our systems and defraud us through multiple online channels to operate. And this SIM registration exercise is one of the steps the government is taking in that regard. Essentially, this stresses the point that this registration exercise will enable the establishment of a subscriber database with integrity to keep consumers safe from scams and fraud. It is therefore the responsibility of all of us who own SIM-enabled devices to take part in this registration exercise. Over 12 million Ghanaians have linked their Ghana cards to their SIM cards. And this shows that a lot of us understand the need for this exercise, especially to sanitize the telecommunications environment. I therefore take this opportunity to urge all who've not registered or are yet to register their SIM cards to do so. The deadline of 31st July is a few days away. It will not be extended.
We want to use this means to call on His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to instruct his Minister for Communications and Digitalizations to rescind her decision on the deadline, as it holds potential national security implications for millions of Ghanaians who have not been able to, due to no fault of theirs, register their SIM cards.
So we all know that accessibility to the Ghana card today is not available to millions of Ghanaians, tens of millions of Ghanaians, through no fault of theirs. Indeed, just about 2 weeks ago, the NIA was in this house to brief the house, and they themselves considered that not only do they not have offices across all the districts of this country, but that they are even handicapped in terms of even bare logistics, like printing cards, common ordinary printing cards, staff, and other logistics to be able to meet the growing needs of the people in respect of the obtaining of this card. And so they considered that they have challenges for which they sought the assistance of Parliament to get done. So if you cannot afford everybody access to the Ghana card, why are you making it automatic, compulsory? And in doing so, let me quote the relevant portion that the minister is seeking to use. The minister is seeking to use LI 2111. And LI 211, if you read it, it doesn't tell you that it is the sole document. It says it shall be a principal document. Principal is not coterminous with sole.
All right, so that was a report by Joy News from the Elwak Sports Stadium. And then you heard the Minister, Esla Owusu-Ekufo, and then Sam George, who is a ranking member in the Communications Committee of Parliament, and ABA Fuseni. Let me bring on Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, Chief Executive Officer, Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications, and Maximus Ametogo, who is Technology Analyst. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this morning. Okay, but let me just I'm supposed to discuss this issue with just the two of you, but I think my guest here can share just, brief comments, 1 or 2 minutes on it before I come to you. And my guest in the studio, Martin Pebu, is lawyer and rights activist, and also here in the studio is Suleiman Abrahima, Executive Director, Media Foundation for West Africa. We will be joined later by Dr. Theo Echampong, Political Risk Analyst and Economist, Dr. Eric Odro Osai, Director General, Internal Audit Agency, and Linda Oforukwafo, Executive Director, Ghana Integrity Initiative. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Right, so you have been training as journalists, and at the Media Foundation for West Africa, you do a lot of work to train the journalists, and I'm supposed to sit here and act like a robot without emotions. I have no feelings. I'm seeing a man at the Elwak who is coming all the way from upper region. He's been chasing his cars for, he says, how many months? They say he'll be called, he doesn't get called. And we know this is very basic difficulty that people encounter in public service delivery in this country. You see the old man there coming from Ada. You have the lady coming from Tema. She's tired, she's paying transport. She comes there and her work suffers. I'm supposed to sit here and act like an unfeeling robot and just ask you questions and not to say that it is mindless, that it is only the NDC MPs who have feelings for Ghanaians and will speak. The MPP MPs will all join a queue and defend that whatever is going on is right. What's wrong with us?
Well, Samson, I think that what we are experiencing is a manifestation of a system that has basically segmented the population into beneficiaries and victims. And for those who are beneficiaries of the system, everything is fine. And those of us, and I would want to consider myself in the category of victims, those of us who are affected by the problems that are ongoing, continue to cry. And once we are into that cohorts of beneficiaries and victims, I think the banter would continue to be there. And I believe those who may expect journalists to act like robots, as you are saying, without emotions, even though they know that journalists are supposed to hold the government accountable. I think that the fundamental role of the media is to play that watchdog role. And that watchdog role does not mean give people opportunity to ventilate their concerns and so on and so forth, but for you to be the mouthpiece of the ordinary people. When I was watching Alhaji and the man from Achimota and so on, I felt so sad. But my reflection was also that, look, if you listen to the Alhaji, this is certainly somebody who has been educated to a certain level. If you look at the kind of English he was using, and even the man from Achimota, you know, who had to come in wheelchairs. So if these people who can afford to travel from Achimota and to travel from Upper East to Accra,
for crying out loud, what sort of indignity is this? What sort of incompetence is this?
Yes.
This is a good job we need to do.
Exactly.
Getting a one multi-purpose ID card that serves all our needs instead of all the bits and pieces here, everyone SNIT ID card, driver's license, the ID card, everywhere ID card. This is the best thing, and we all applaud it. Implementing this thing. What sort of incompetence is this? I can't imagine. Look, look at the man.
No, these are certainly retirees. And my point is, these people can afford the transport cost, the inconvenience, and so on to come to Accra. So imagine our mothers, our grandmothers, the poor who are in the rural areas who will be victims of this exercise but cannot travel to Accra to be able to, you know, see whether they can go through. And certainly, from what they are saying, I don't know, and I don't believe that they were able to even go through the exercise to procure their Ghana cards. But the fundamental question for me is, we've been operating, you know, the mobile telephony industry for the last 2 or so decades. Yes, there are issues of fraud, there are issues of crime that are enabled through the use of ITs or even mobile phones, if you may want to be specific. But over the years as a country, we've not crashed. So if we are taking steps to deal with all these issues of insecurity, including the threats of terrorism, fundamentalism, and so on and so forth, why do we act as if we don't do this thing within a year, Ghana is going to crash? I don't think that any country has done that. And this is particularly important because what Ghana is doing, the model we are using has been described as one of the most invasive and most intrusive mobile SIM registration in the world. We are included in the categories of countries that are implementing the most intrusive and the most invasive SIM card registration process.
Well, people have sought through the courts to ventilate and assert this particular part of their right, but the courts have thought differently. I think about 2 cases so far. They've all been thrown out.
Yes, but it still doesn't wash away the fact that, look, our exercise includes, they take your photograph, so facial recognition issues. They take your fingerprints, so biometrics included. They are now going to merge that into the Ghana card, and the Ghana card has everything. Where you come from, your mother, your father, your name, your date of birth, and everything. So we are part of the few countries that are implementing this kind of most invasive, you know, SIM card registration process. And that is the more reason why there should be, the time span within which this should be done should be such that it doesn't really inconvenience anyone. We should get to the point where we tell ourselves and are convinced that those who haven't registered have deliberately refused to register. But if you look at the visuals out there and the numbers that we saw, I don't think that these are people who decided that, look, we would not pursue our Ghana card, we would not register, and so on. So if people have not been able to procure their Ghana cards because of, you know, inefficiencies or whatever at the level of NIA, why do we want to foist this thing on them? So I think we need to be considerate, and we need to actually come to terms with the fact that, look, not everyone lives in Accra, not everyone lives in Kumasi or Takoradi or Ho. You know, people live in rural areas, and how to even get to the district capital to get service is an issue. And we haven't put in any mechanisms to ensure that the process is eased for these kinds of people. And I certainly believe that we are at a point where this 31st date, if it's to be enforced, it would mean that, look, we are doing it and we don't care about the ordinary people. They can go to hell. Otherwise, something has to be done about the deadline.
Okay. So, Martin, I don't know when the Ghana card was being done, how you got yours. Somehow, we find ourselves in, you can't run away from it, privileged situations. Immediately it was being rolled out. Professor Kenatefa, who is one of us, a lawyer.
Yes, a good friend.
You know, they were doing it in offices and places. They organized for the lawyers, Ghana Bar Association.
Yeah.
I went to the Bar Association, you know, the bar center.
Okay.
I don't remember spending 15 minutes.
Okay.
And I got my card. But I'm not happy.
Yeah.
Why should this be this way?
Yeah.
As we understand, you know, there are about 15 million SIM cards that have been linked to the Ghana card, but there are over 26 million SIM cards which are yet to be linked to the Ghana card.
Excellent. Yes. So it tells you that we are not ready at this juncture to deactivate the SIM cards that have not been registered with the Ghana cards. We are not ready at all. Let's not, deceive ourselves. We definitely must postpone. We must, because right now you have about 4.6 million subscribers, SIM cards, which are yet to be registered. Because, and once those have not been done, there's no way you're just going to deactivate them by the stroke of a pen. No, it's going to cause chaos. Let's not forget these cards, these SIM cards, we use them to make calls, and so we pay taxes. We pay taxes. So are we going to cut your nose to spite your face? No. And then also there's going to be a huge security implication. So for me, it's clear to me that, look, we would have to do an extension. The numbers are too huge. The last population census from the synopsis that was sent to me showed that we have 19.9 million adults. That's above 15, okay? And so if out of these, and they are saying that there are about 40 million SIM cards, about 40, some are saying 43. That's right. So let's say 40 to 43 million. So right now, only 12 million SIM cards have been linked. So the difference is too huge for us to deactivate. So it's just not possible.
I am relying on Tech Ghana 24. It's a specialized online publication.
Thank you.
That deals with telcos and these things. So I think it is more reliable.
Okay.
They report that you have 41 million.
Okay.
It is 15 million SIM cards that have been linked to the Ghana card, and you have 26 million SIM cards which are yet to be linked to the Ghana card. This is different from the numbers that Professor Kenatefa and his National Identification Authority have been able to register. Good. We hear people have been calling. I was listening to the Super Morning Show. People call from villages in the Volta region, far away, and they say they keep queuing and nothing really seems to happen.
Excellent, Sam. And it's mind-boggling, to say the least, that there is a threat to deactivate. It's very farcical. It's looking farcical. I don't think we should threaten people like that. Let's bring in this quickly. And also the 250 Ghana cedis that's being charged for premium service. Please, let's scrap that. It's too much. It's too much for the average Ghanaian. 250 Ghana cedis. It's too much. You know, Professor Teva is my mentor. We date way back. Okay, but Prof, this one, the 250 Ghana cedis. Alabraka, please reduce it drastically. Okay, right. And then I hear there's some experience from Nigeria that they are also in this process, that they extended it 3 times, and March this year was the last deadline. When they got to March this year, they saw that there were still millions who hadn't done, so they just said, oh, we entreat citizens to continue, and that's it. Okay. So this threat to deactivate please, this is Ghana, we will not take that lying down, please. The minister should, kindly look at it.
Let me go to the technical people. Maximus Ametogo, thank you, brother, for joining us.
Thank you, Samson. Great job.
Great. So let me begin on this note with you. I know you take me through the figures and what has to happen, because we also know that the telcos have been meeting with the minister and the other government stakeholders. A very senior lawyer sends me this. He says, Samson, I agree that there is a certain incompetence about this registration. And let me explain. I have 4 separate MTM SIM cards, 2 of them solely for Momo, personal and official, and 2 for TerribleNet routers for office and for home. The registration process required that my biodata be captured for each of these SIM cards. So my biodata was captured 4 separate times. So you can imagine that this will add to the time spent on just attending to one person. There may be several people with multiple cards, and you can register how many, you will tell us. And so increase the pressure on the system. Why should it not be possible to capture my biodata once and connect all my SIM cards to my biodata? We should change the system and the backlog will be cleared. What do you say, Maximus?
I think it's a brilliant submission. And I also think that this whole idea of a deadline for SIM registration must be scrapped. Ghana is not going anywhere, neither the telecom industry. So if you have this huge number of people who have already linked their card, why don't you find a smarter way of getting the other people who can access a registration center because of maybe a geographical restriction or because of their age or some kind of inconvenience that we can, even for the lawyer's case, for example, I can register just a number, then use this as an index number, as in the index number, then you link all the other devices that I have. I have about 7 tabnets that I use for my work, right? So am I going to queue and register all the 7 tabnets and then the phone numbers, right? So if I register only one, all that you do is, do you have any additional phone number or SIM card that you can add it? So that mobile number becomes an index number. Then you link all the other tabnets or the services onto that one and becomes easier. So I can continue the process using an online portal or a short code to do that registration because you've already captured my biodata and other details using the index device. So it doesn't make sense to me that we're worrying ourselves doing extensions and all over the place. Let's get people to do this as and when they are available to do it. Telecommunication service is a tool of convenience, which you don't sell with inconvenience. So I believe that the extension must be done. It should go beyond the January 2023 people are talking about. We all know that the Ghana card system wasn't designed with a deadline in place. They have a minimum number that they can even, register in a day. Likewise, even the SIM registration. And you know you are using an internet portal or service. So even the telecom infrastructure cannot take all the traffic at a time. So you have a number of concurrent users. I'm sure the minister knows that a particular online resource can take at a time. So yesterday, for example, some of the short code, the 404 and the rest, were not working because of the traffic. Just like the same way when people go through to any of the telecom centers, they can't be served within a particular time period because the number of people they're serving them cannot manage the traffic. Now, the other thing is that you are using even the experience centers of most of the telecom companies. So the MTNs and the rest, they have their experience centers. I'm not sure government is paying them for using their workers to do SIM registration for government. Now, if MTN is building experience centers to where their customers are, it means that the distribution of the experience centers will not even be even. It's not legally required that it should be in every district. So they will not be there. So I'm sure people will be moving from different places to the next available customer experience centers to register their SIM cards.
Try explain this to me also. And this is personal. My office.
Yes.
We certainly needed a merchant, line.
Yeah.
So we use Ghana card to register it because the merchant numbers, the registration is a detailed process.
Right.
Actually, they can come to your office and it takes time to do it nicely for you. So initially we heard that those ones were not supposed to be re-registered because we have used Ghana Card to register them. Then yesterday, I got a call from MTN that I'm supposed to re-register because that's what it's supposed to be. Can you explain that to me?
It doesn't make sense, Samson. The issue is that how we centralize even our data, that is the problem that we have. You have Ghana Card doing the registration, and then they are inputting your mobile number as a data set on your profile. Then you are going to register that number again using the Ghana Card. It doesn't make sense. So why don't they consolidate? So NCA, Ministry of Communication, SNIT, and the rest, so that they come together, build a centralized system. Then you say, okay, SNIT, you have access to these data sets on this particular data subject, driver's license, you have this. So you give them various levels of access to some of the data sets to authenticate or verify the people. So doing a re-registration of your merchant number again, it does not make sense because you've already done that. Where did we even put the data of the people we registered some time ago that we are doing the same re-registration for? Where is it? And how do you even authenticate and verify some of the things that we are even collecting? So for me, we are just trying to put a layer of inconvenience on the service that's supposed to offer people's convenience. And we are frustrating everybody and the economy. Trust me, government is going to lose more than even the SIM card owner, right? They are going to do transactions, you are going to collect e-levy, and you are going to even create negative public sentiment for government. And as a politician, I'm sure it's the last thing you should be thinking about. Businesses are going to be frustrated. And of course, SIM card distribution also helps in mapping out your population distribution, right? So I think they should look at the bigger picture and focus on how do we make sure that we stagger the process so that people can register as and when they are at a particular, maybe a telecom service provider point of vendor, so they can do that. Now, total blackout doesn't make sense because you're going to deny people access to digital technology solutions or service.
So what should the NIA also be doing? I think the indignity that people are going through just to get a card it's not something that is tolerable. And that incompetence must not be visited on poor people as is going on now. On its NIA's website, 16.3 million cards have been printed. 13.3 million cards have been issued. 3 million cards printed but not issued to the owners. And when you check, it has taken months. 3 million printed but not issued to the owners. And this is not the fault of the 3 million people. So at the level of the NIA, what should be happening there too?
I think they need to organize their processes so that if I walk to your office to do a registration, right, what are the details that needs to be on the card? My name, my phone, what do you call it, date of birth, right? And then the Ghana card, which the Ghana card number. Now, if I walk in there, what do you need first? If you take my picture, pictures are physiological data sets that expires because I can take a picture without a beard, and when I grow, I develop a beard. It means that the system has to be updated to take my current physiological feature. Now, if you pick my biometric data, my fingerprint doesn't change. If you pick my iris, it does not change, even if I become 80 years or 90 years. So why don't you just pick that one, issue the card, and do the updating of the other things later, right? It's the same thing. So the person has a card, but you can do the updating of the other data sets in the person's profile. Identity is not just the card you are giving the people, but the data sets within their profile. So like the military people use, maybe the investigators, they say, when they say a profile of a person or the identity of the person, it's a file, it's not a card. So we should move away from that concept so that we hasten the process of issuing those cards. And we should see even the Ghana card number as the ID of the person than just the plastic card you are issuing to the people. So it comes to the process design and how all these things are well designed. So let's make it more comfortable. And if people have their cards there, why don't you engage the Ghana Post so that Ghana Post can do the distribution on your behalf? Get the people's number, because numbers, you have them already. And Ghana Post can do that at maybe a minimal cost, because they are distributed in every district by law, right? So they're always present there.
You are an industry person. What do you know? Tech Ghana 24 reports that there have been meetings overnight or so with the NCA and the Ministry of Communications, and that it's likely that there will be an extension. Should I say likely, or it is a must? Because you can't visit your sins and incompetence on the people. So, but there will be conditions, and they say these conditions are described as quite complex. They include the fact that SIM cards that remain unregistered by July 31, the July 31 deadline, will be suspended and giving a grace period to register. During the grace period, such SIMs will only be allowed to make and receive voice calls, but no data and SMS services. Again, if they remain unregistered after a given period, during the grace period, they will begin to attract higher tariffs for calls made until they register. And that it is expected that the minister will issue a statement, announcing this. And this actually is the agreement that the telcos are compromising to allow for the extension. What do you know?
I heard something like that. But yesterday, I posted on my Facebook page the same thing, that total blackout doesn't make sense. You can graduate the services that the people get on their SIM card, because the SIM card is a distribution point for telecom and technology services. So if the telcos can distribute certain maybe services using the SIM card as an access point, you can do a restriction. Say, okay, you can receive voice calls, you can send SMS or receive SMS till you do your SIM card registration. For me, even though it's to the extreme, I think it's better than doing the blackout, but charging people more and then, suspending the SIM cards and the rest. How does that cure the fraud the minister is talking about? How does that cure, prevent people from hacking other people? She used a cyber crime.
Yeah, so
don't need a SIM
I'm
card
asking, charging me more because of what? I'm not the reason I'm unable to register. It is the state is the reason I'm unable to register. And you say you are giving me a grace period for which I should suffer because I haven't registered. And I want to register, but you are not making it possible for me to register.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. For me, I think the telcos should insist that they can limit or graduate the services that people access on their SIM cards, maybe put off some data service, and then they can do their calls and the rest. And you know something, there's a system that the telcos have where they can even tag a phone number as a spam number. So they call it a flagging score. So if a number makes a phone number makes a certain number of calls within a stipulated time, they flag it as being a robot than a human being. So the same way you can engineer something that can say, okay, the number calling you is unregistered. You can tag it like that. So I will decide whether to pick an unregistered number and do business with them or not. Now, if I have a phone number saved with a name on my phone, there's a trust stamped on that number than an unknown number calling me. So what do you do? You do a public service campaign so that, okay, if somebody is calling you with an unknown number that they want to do business with you, you have to verify, you have to check, you have to do all that. you need those campaigns to stop fraud. You don't need SIM card registration only to stop cybercrime. It will not work. It has never worked.
I understand that the fact that the broadband wireless access players like Surfline, Broadband Home, Busy Ghana, and Telesol were the fact that they were not allowed to start the re-registration early when it was announced in October 2021 is the reason this, extension is likely to happen. It's part of the major reasons this extension is likely to happen, because they only got the go-ahead to commence the process just this month or so, and it's been only about 9 days after they were giving the go-ahead to also ensure that people register their, what do you call them, the chips that they use for their broadband access. What for you, the players in this industry, what for you should happen immediately or in the long term, in wrapping up in some 2 minutes?
Yeah, I think they should just ask for other means of registration as easy. So you can use your driver's license or passport, because all of them take your data than just your phone number and date of birth. They should do that, and also extend the period, because it's going to affect their service and their investment. So government must consider.
Did you say they should allow the use of passports and what?
Yeah, you can use passport. You have other, so you have a passport or your driver's license, for example.
But will that not interrupt what we are trying to do? We're using only Ghana card so that we know that we have a system that, is trustworthy. Is that not the case?
Yeah, so this is you don't want to deny people a telecom service. They have what they call a verifiable and form of identification. You can't tell me you can't travel with a Ghana passport or you can't drive with a driver's license. So it means that they already have some form of data. So use that as a primary identification, and then use the Ghana card later to verify or to upgrade the person's profile using those services. So
what else? You are talking about passport and driver's license. What else? Because the majority will not have passports and driver's licenses. And in any case, it just occurred to me, I got my Ghana card using my passport or driver's license, or even both.
Exactly. Yes.
So what's the difference? Why is it that there's a difference in the Ghana card and passport or driver's license? Because those are the original source document I use for my Ghana card.
Exactly. Something it shouldn't be different. It's just like your date of birth. Your date of birth shouldn't be different from you. Your surname must not be different from you, even though your surname is just one, right? So if you are linking all the cards to the Ghana card, it means that the other cards you are linking have been verified and authenticated, and you know the owner of those cards. So why don't you use the same cards for other services too as well?
But at least the Ghana card will have a different ID number, right?
Yes, so it will just be like your date of birth, right? So it won't change irrespective of where you input it. But the Ghana card will be like the mother of all cards.
Right.
But if we have other sub cards under the Ghana card, which will be used to authenticate your Ghana card first, it means those cards are also valid.
Okay. But the other question I was asking was, beyond the driver's license and is it the passport, what other document do you think could be allowed if they want to contemplate that? Because not too many will have a passport or a driver's license.
Something, I think the Ghana card, the NIA use a smart system where you use a proxy. So if I have a cousin, I have a brother who doesn't have a Ghana card, I can go and use my card as a proxy to, get them their SIM cards or whatever registered. We can do the same thing because you want to identify people. So you can identify people by their relationship to other people, and location and the rest don't work because it changes. And if I input my physical address or my house address, those things change.
Okay.
Right? Because people move, people migrate and the rest. But if my cousin is not dead, I'm not dead, he will still be alive. So if you want to find my cousin, you can always call Maximus, where is your cousin? And I can find you my cousin. So let's make things more comfortable. Let's make things more convenient. Technology is a tool of convenience. So we shouldn't use inconvenience to sell it.
Okay. Thank you very much. Maximus Ametogo is technology analyst. Thank you so very much. And I call him brother because it's just not an ordinary usage. At the University of Ghana, those of us who were at LPU, Legon Pentecostals Union, that was how we greeted each other. Now, I'll go to a few messages and then we'll take a break and return to discuss the other issues we have. This one from Kojo, he says, please, wanted me to ask Maximus a question. Why the biodata could not have been pulled from the Ghana card and we have to take our biodata again for SIM registration? What is the added value of creating another database? We have linked TIN, SNIT, bank account, passport, and driver's license. So why can't we just link our numbers? With the NIA, do they have the money to do their job in this difficult economic situation? Okay, I think I've heard Professor Kenatefa, bemoan the issue of money and saying that if they had some amount of money, they'll be able to ramp up. But someone is also asking a question. Note is asking about the special service they are providing, the premium service. Is it not bringing them money? How much have they gathered so far? What are they used that money for? This one by Frank Addison, he says that we are a very proud, well-educated and intelligent people. So how we end up with such incompetent bunch making decisions and choices that appears to so dumb and illogical. How did we get here? I just don't understand. Why do we like frustrating citizens? Is Ghana PLC coming to an end? We compelled people in the middle of a pandemic to register to vote. Less than 2 years, we are getting people to go through same frustration again. I'm sure Electoral Commission is planning another registration soon. Why are we subjecting citizens to this? Ghanaians clearly deserve, oh no, we don't deserve this. It says Ghanaians clearly deserve this. We don't deserve this. Eric says that I did my SIM registration in January. I was told data SIM, that's like the TurboNet, FBB or is it LOT, were not to be re-registered. So they did it for only the SIMs I used to make and receive calls. Could you please help me clarify? Well, I just told, I asked Maximus a while ago. They are now saying all those should be registered, please. So get ready to get that done. All those are supposed to be registered. Okay, I will take a break and return to read some more of your messages. Let me read this one from Manche Bruce in Takrady. He says, the success of the SIM card registration exercise is inextricably hinged on the issuance of the Ghana card by the NIA. As it stands, less than 50% of mobile phone users have received their Ghana cards. Is it less? The Ministry of Communication and Digitization is doing a good job, but it must reconsider its decision of not extending the deadline for the registration exercise. The NIA must rather be giving all the necessary support to deliver the cards to the Ghanaian people, pursuant to which a new deadline could be given. I agree with you, Manche Bruce. Kenatefa and his team, they won the Integrity Institution of the Year last year. And the survey, corruption survey, the actual corruption survey shows that they are not a corrupt institution. People don't go there. Even though people are interacting with them, you don't see the officers taking bribes and so on. and that is good news. So they should do better. All right, we take a break here. We'll be right back.